All right, guys. I want to tell you a story because I told you all that I would tell you pieces of my life, piece at a time, and try to, I'll give you the puzzle a piece at a time, and I'll let you put it together, and tell you a story about when I was in the Navy, and I was in. Well, we were stationed in Norfolk. The ship that I was on was called the USS Detroit. It doesn't exist anymore. China's probably turned it into some kind of a car by now. There is a new Detroit, but I don't know what it is. I just know there's another one. It's some kind of a whatever it does. It's beyond me. But well, we went into Norfolk. We went into the shipyards, and they refitted us for a reason. They rearmed us, and fixed things up a little bit so we could defend ourselves a little better. But the enlisted club there in Norfolk, man, it's rough, man. I mean, this place is the E club there in Norfolk, man. The bar stool, and it's big. It's a huge place. I mean, it's got like 2-3 stages. I mean, it's a gigantic place. It's like, it's like one of those, Hard Rock Cafe kind of. I mean, it's huge. It's a huge place. And all the bar stools are made out of metal. They're all made out of steel, not wood. Because people have a tendency to crack each other over the head. Sailors and of course Marines can go in there too. It's just there's a lot. All the branches are there on that base. I mean, it's a gigantic. There in Norfolk, it's gigantic, bro. It's a whole city all on its own. And so the bar stools are all made out of metal, because a wooden stool you got to replace, you know what I mean? But a head, you can sew it up, just stitch it up and it'll be fine, and you don't have to replace the bar stool. So they're all made out of metal. And then what's the story? Well, all right, here's the story, man. It's a rough club, it's gigantic, but I believe it was north up there. There's an Army base, and I believe it's called Newport News. Well, Newport News was the town, and I can't remember the name of the Army base. But we could get into their base, whatever, with our military ID, and we just wore civilian clothes, we just put on civilian civvies, and we would go to their enlisted club, which was much smaller. It was more like a bar, but it was set up like a German brothel. All the tables, they were all picnic tables, so everybody had to sit together. It was set like red lights, and they had a stage and singing, and it was nice. It was quiet. It was smaller. And of course, we just didn't lead on, to anybody that we were squids, because Army and Navy kind of get along. Well, maybe not during football season, but most of the time, Army, it's the Navy and Marines that don't get along. But, Navy and Army, but, we still, kept to ourselves, we didn't let it out, We found this table, and there was like 5 of us, and we all split this cab, because even then the cab, it was kind of far, and I think the cab fare was $20-$25, whatever. So we all threw in $5, whatever. Anyway, we're sitting at this table, this picnic table, whatever, and we're drinking beer and and guys are mingling, whatever. And this guy comes and sits down across from me, and just big, huge, bald shaped head, wearing I don't know, you young people, I haven't seen this style in a long time, but you older guys know what I'm talking about. Those fluffy trucker jackets with no sleeves on them. Remember those, like in Back to the Future? Remember those? Remember that? And this thing came down and sat down across the table from me. And it was, talking all this Army lingo, and yeah, whatever, I didn't have a clue as to what it was talking about, And I just kind of nodded. I'm like 17 years old, I'm, ignorant, when I'm drinking beer and having the time of my life, you know, da, da, da. And after a little bit, you know, what I thought was a guy, and it wasn't, man. It leans over the table and says, "You want to dance?" I'm like, "Eh? You want to dance?" You know? And as I look at her, you know, there might be a set of breasts under that jacket. And I was like, "Are you a guy or a girl?" "Well, I'm a girl." I started laughing, man. I you know, I had all that beer and the weed and everything, you know. I mean, I started laughing, you know, and I was like, man, this whole time I thought you were a guy, you know, and you know, just kept laughing, whatever. And it was funny because there was this, you know, 500-pound picnic table in between the two of us. Well, we were kind of sitting at the end of the table, you know, and she reached over, man, and she grabbed the end of that table, that 500-pound table, and now there was nothing between us. So I immediately stopped laughing and did what any brave American sailor would do. I dove under the table behind me and started crawling. And the chase was on, man. And every time she saw somebody, you know, she would grab them by their short hairs. I mean, it's like, remember that movie Aliens? You know, with Sigourney Weaver and that little girl, you know, the little girl's trapped under the floor and the alien kept plucking the... Yeah! You know... That was me, and I mean, and it started a whole brawl, man, and all my friends, man, you know, well, I managed to get away, man. I bolted out the front door, and there's just a row of cabs sitting there, man, and I dove in through the one with the open window in the back, man. I said, drive, you know. And he's like, drive, what's going on? And of course, you know, the brawl spills out the front door of the place, you know. Oh, I see, you know, he takes off. And I had to, you know, shell out $25 out of my pocket to get back to Norfolk, you know. And yeah, I left my friends behind. They were dead anyway, man. There was nothing I could do about it, you know. I got out of there before I was killed. Somebody had to live to tell the story, you know. And, you know, I made it back to the boat. And, of course, my friends, they did survive with... you know, quite an ass whipping. You know, there's a few black eyes and some, you know, but, you know, every scar is a war story, you know what I mean? And, well, you know, when they got back, of course, they proceeded to beat the shit out of me there in the, you know, the berthing compartment. And I took the ass whipping. I deserved it, whatever. But, hey, I took that ass whipping because I tell you what, man, if that woman had gotten her hands on me, that fucking Godzilla had gotten its hands on me, she would have killed. They only whipped my ass. She would have killed me. And I wouldn't be making this video right now, so I did the right thing, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, that happened to me when I was in the Navy. All right, guys. If anybody gets bored, send